Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Project Veterans Voices. I'm your host, Andrew Cox, and today we're jumping back in. It is going to be awesome. John Crouch back to give us some more motivated stories. But before we get into these episodes, are you enjoying the podcast? And make sure you go check out the website. That's the Lost Art Project, veteransvoices.org. Go check us out, see what we're all about. We are a new nonprofit, so if there's any way you can help us out, it'd be much appreciated. A big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project, man. Like I say every time, they're out there doing amazing things. If you don't know anything about them, go check them out. Even if you do, go back and check them out again. We want to try to support them as best we can. You can find them at tillvalhallaproject.com. Also, the Marine Corps League is out there. They are now doing veteran service officers. So you can find that at mcleague.org. Search the VSO locator. That's going to help you contact one of the Marine Corps League specific VSOs, or you can dial 703-207-9588, extension 299.
Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member.
All right, we are back. Here we are again, man. John, I'm so excited. I always get excited when you come on here, so it's a good day.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. Didn't realize I had this many stories in me. I know this is episodes 10 and 11 today. It's 22 hours of storytelling.
Yeah.
Without repeating the story. But I want to start off with how I pre-plan each of these sessions. I always think, what shirt am I going to wear that's best and most appropriate for the podcast? I have the Drill Instructor Association T-shirt for the East Coast.
That's right.
And other Marine Corps related shirts, 1st Battalion and whatnot. And I thought today, I love my wife because it's Mother's Day, yes, and she's a mother. I forgot to turn my damn phone off.
It's all good.
And so I thought, she bought this for me for Christmas a couple years ago. She says, I love my wife. It's a picture of her all over the front and back. And the Marine Corps motto is Semper Fidelis, Latin for always faithful.
That's right.
It's a fidelity shirt that allows me to maintain my fidelity with our relationship. And I only have one woman in my life. So I don't go on deployments anymore, but I do business trips sometimes. And we're all away from home at a conference or whatever. And so I might go this one particular night when out after the conference. And so the women know, spoken for. And women stop me in grocery stores. They want to get a picture of it. They just absolutely love the idea. And they want their husband to do the same.
Oh, you putting the
still get to keep my man card.
Yeah. You're looking good though, man. It suits you, man. I like it.
I got to turn that. Looks like I got a moon in the background. Let me go ahead and kill that.
Well, hey, I got to tell you, I think on the very first podcast that we did, you'd mentioned, I'm surprised you weren't wearing your overalls. And I figured I would wear them today since we were recording, and it's been one or two, and I haven't worn them. So,
and I got a set upstairs. Key is the brand name, and
okay.
I haven't worn those in a few years, but hell, I should have. If I'd known about it, I would have. You'd send the memo out. We both have our bib overalls on.
Yeah. We'll match better in the future. You know.
Yes, we will. Well, I have an object that I need to finally get back upstairs and put it in the master bathroom. I get to see it every morning when I get up in the morning and see it last thing before hitting the rack. And it's a plaque that was given to me by my very last class at Officer Candidate School, Pensacola.
Okay.
Class 12-908, the 12th class of 1998 fiscal year. And what an awesome class they were. But what it is they're hand-me-downs. These hand-me-downs came from class to class to class. It started with class 1, 9, 9, or 7.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing a mail call, handing out packages. And there's a package and it's addressed to me.
Okay.
That's dangerous. Why am I getting mail at officer candidate mail call?
Yeah.
Where I learned my lesson from another class where there's a pair of camouflage mail stripper type briefs, right?
Right.
And then, holy shit. I hold them up, I'm looking at them. They obviously laugh, but these are things that happen toward the end of training, not in the beginning.
Yeah.
So it was a pink pig. It was stuffed. So let me grab it right here. So the backstory is I saw that pig. So instantly I thought, I know what this is. This is the knowledge pig. The knowledge pig will be carried by the knowledge candidates that's responsible for ensuring the class is not stupid. When you put your academics class, you will pull it out of your book bag because they have these leather book bags.
Yeah.
You pull it out of your leather book bag. You'll sit it on your desk. And there's only one person who's going to be the keeper of knowledge, and that's Hawes, Hawes, was her last name. And Elizabeth is her first name, but she goes by Bitsy. But at that time, she went by Pig, like all of them, and pigs. And so it was a pink pig. And I said, you will brand it with your class number 19, and you will carry this with you at every single event where you go to academics. You will pull it, set it on your desk. When that chief petty officer or the lieutenant in the school, the officer, asks you, what the hell is this? You tell them, sir, class drill instructor Gunner Sergeant Crouch, United States Marine Corps, said this is the knowledge pig, and it must be present at all periods of instruction to absorb knowledge, and that it will be passed around, and all officer candidates, also known as pigs, will touch the good luck pig for knowledge to pass the test. And so they kept on that tradition. And then as each class would come on deck, they would hand it over to that class.
Yeah.
So at the very end,
It's awesome.
There's all kinds of numbers on here. I look at the numbers 1, 2, 9, or 8. 1, 9, 9, or 8 was the very first one here in the ear.
Yeah.
And the other side, 0, 7, 9, or 8. Class 2, 3, 9, or 7. Class 0, 2, 9, or 8. And I think there's probably something on the belly, but it's adhered to the plaque. Of course, it says the poem Invictus, out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. To the true drill God, Gunnery Sergeant Crouch, United States Marine Corps. May we always remain pigs in your eyes. Have you had a drill orgasm today? Question mark. Killing and drilling. Yut! Class 1, 2, 9, or 8. Crouch's last stand. 103. 103 was the score at close order drill. And they missed the they missed the record by a half point. My second class. My second class was 02-97. They broke the record that was existing at the time. So it was 102.5 was the score. So I remember one of the drill instructors said, 102.5, what the fuck is that, a radio station? The record was like 99, I think, at the time. And so I maintained that record for about a year. And then Staff Sergeant Clan, now Gunnery Sergeant Sands, Donnell Sands, that's his full name. He retired a Master Sergeant. He had his very last class, and I said, Gunny Sands, I hope you break my record, but not by very much. I want to break it again if you leave. I want you to have that taste of victory. So he did, and he broke the record by like a full point. No,
nice.
Half a point. It had to been half a point. And so now it was 103. And my last class did 103.5. If they did 103, let me see here. 103. Yeah. So the new record was 103.5, and that last class hit a 103.
That's pretty good, though. Still, I mean, that's up there.
It is. And class started with 34 originals from with no previous training at OCS, although there were some former enlisted. And we picked up 3 roll-ins for a total of, count on deck, at 37. At the end of the 4th or 5th week, I want to think it was the 4th week, we lost the 3 roll-ins. They attrited and went backwards in training 2 weeks because they failed another damn exam. And because you're only allowed 1 failure without leaving your class. Right. When you ever have your 2nd failure, you're gone. And 2 weeks back. And then of the original 34, we were down to 19. And we stayed at 19 until the finish line. And you think it's hard. I think it's harder to have awesome drill with a smaller number because it's easier to discover mistakes being made.
You're right.
And but somehow we did an awesome job. There's a video out there of their drill comp or drill competition, and I had taught my last 2 classes how to take the M1 Garand rifle that they were issued and spin them. And
oh, nice.
So they throw them up in the air, catch it, drop down, do a Queen Anne salute, and they recited, and it's on video. Sir, this is my. Oh, they said, this is my rifle. There are many like it, but this one is mine. And he recited that creed. The rifle creed.
Very cool.
Then they stood up and they did a cascading spin in sequence. So you see the first one spin all the way down to the end. And then I gave the command fall in. They fell in and we kicked some awesome drill. You could hear the Master Gunner Sergeant Jerry Hotry, Chief Drill Instructor. He started channeling the movie Full Metal Jacket. At first he said, a little too many silent drill team movies there, huh, Gunny? And I was standing there in position waiting for him to get done spinning their rifles so that I could give the command fall in.
Yeah.
And as they were falling in, he says, I am in a world of shit. One of the lines from the movie.
Yeah.
Then I hear now retired Sergeant Major Doyle Brady, at that time Gunny, telling what some other officer candidate, must have been one of his, because it certainly wasn't mine. Mine were in formation, but he's telling one of those other candidates that was watching, get your goddamn hands out of your pocket. And because it was a cold day, it was probably a wind chill factor of low 20s, and we didn't do it with gloves. We didn't do it with heavy jackets or watch caps. We went out there and took the pain and bare hands on wood. And
nice. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's good stuff right there.
Yeah. So let me see here. We talked about the pink pig. So remember Recruit Patel, the one that I truly believed had a 50% chance of being one of the 2 turds that dropped a turd on my quarterdeck on the night that I was going to bond with the boys.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks later, let's see, it's probably 3 weeks later, we're at the rifle range, 3-4 weeks later at the rifle range. We just completed qualification day.
Uh-huh.
And the following day was Saturday. I had the duty, and I told the drill instructors, I said, hey, don't bother coming in. I got the pigs all day. And I actually, because I was my first time as a senior, I thought, well, what the hell? We took the rifle range. We got the trophy. I'll buy them some damn pizza, right?
Yeah.
Senior drill instructors can do that kind of stuff, even though I never pictured myself doing that. So I bought the pizza. And, of course, later on, a recruit decided – no, that's right, the night prior, a recruit decided to go UA for 5 days. We talked about him.
Yeah.
Well, after the pizza's done and consumed, there's taps on the hatch. 3 taps, really hard. And I said, what? Sir, recruit, whatever. Request permission to enter the senior drill instructor's office. About why? Why do you want to come in my freaking office? And sir, this officer can't. This recruit has something important to say that should be heard by everyone. All right, so get in here. What the hell is it? He says, request permission to speak at ease. That says bullshit. You speak of position of tension. What do you want? When are the beatings going to begin, sir? This is Patel, the one that I truly believe dropped a turd on my quarterdeck. I said, what the hell makes you think there's going to be physical abuse and beatings? He said, the weak ones are gone, but have already left the platoon, and the platoon is loose and needs tightening up, sir. They need to be beat. I said, Patel, you're the only one I want to beat. Get the fuck out of my office now. And the only time I've ever had a recruit ask the question, when are the beatings going to begin, and was looking forward to it and felt that the platoon was loose and needed to be tightened up.
That's pretty good. He was obviously part of that crew that needed tightening.
Back before I became a drill instructor, I was a sergeant, just moved to Beaufort, South Carolina. I was working at HAMS 31, Headquarters and Maintenance Squadron. 31 is what it stood for. And I rebuilt jet engines on the F-4 Phantom. Disassembled the jet engine, inspected all the parts, reassembled. But just because I'm not a drill instructor yet doesn't mean I can't look professional every day.
Right.
My wife, Mary, she thought she'd do something beautiful and nice for me. And the gesture was just that. She pressed out my camouflage uniform for me, so I wouldn't have to do it like I did every night. And I didn't notice it being pressed out. It didn't meet Marine Corps standards. Maybe it works for a civilian that works in a bank and their job is to hand out cash, but it don't work for a Marine. We got a certain standard that has to be met.
Right.
And I didn't mention anything to her, so she pointed it out about half an hour before I would normally grab my uniform to start pressing it. I thought maybe she hung it out there for me to then grab and press. That was not the case. She said, did you notice anything? I said, no, what should I have noticed? She says, I pressed your uniform. And I glanced at it. I thought, oh, hell no. And there's no way that's going to meet Marine Corps standards. So I tried to act enthused. Meanwhile, there's no way I'm wearing this uniform tomorrow. None. And I've always had the mindset of I'm not going to have my whole wall locker set up full of uniforms ready to go, because I always felt that I'd be cheated in life, because that was time I could have spent doing something I enjoy other than uniform prep. So I only pressed the uniforms that I needed, except for when I was a DI. But otherwise, I only pressed the uniforms I needed. And I didn't spend all my time pressing all of my uniforms. What if I died? I wasted all that time. I could have done something more enjoyable. And so we go to bed. I'm laying there. I can't fall asleep. I'm stressed out. So about 20 minutes goes by. She's sleeping. Using my air wing sniper skills, I stealthily get out of the bed. I sneak out of the bedroom. I close the door handle. It's shut. I walk down the hallway. It had a second door in the hallway to the living room. I shut it. Things are good now, man. I get that ironing board out, bottle of starch, and I'm going to town on this uniform. About 12 minutes later, she comes out there. She opens the door and she catches me. I thought so. That's the first and last time I will ever press your uniform. I said, please, don't be upset. She was angry, man, pissed off. And I said, Mary, it's just that we have a certain standard in the Marine Corps. Oh, you can do it yourself then. I said, I would rather teach you. I mean, isn't that what Jesus did? He taught people how to fish instead of giving them fish. I said, I want you to become really good and competent at this. That didn't go over well. And
that's so messed up. You had to bring Jesus into it. You're trying to save yourself.
I mean, what if she had a double crease in there? That's an issue in the Marine Corps. Big time. What if the crease didn't make its way to the sewn seam of the shoulder? That's the big issue. Yeah. So,
oh, God, that's good.
Oh, so let's go back to 18 years old. When you're 18, you graduate high school, you're a man.
Yeah, that's right.
Vote. At that time, you could actually buy beer, but not hard liquor in my state of Illinois. And In hindsight, it was great medicine that I experienced. And but Dad was going to teach me a lesson. Now, some of this story I didn't get to figure out until years later, hearing him tell stories. And then I was able to put it all together. So this is the story.
Okay.
When I was 16 in high school, Dad ran for office to be the mayor of the town.
Okay.
And at the time, he was the CEO of Coleman Clinic, medical clinic. And he was elected. He's a gifted speaker. In fact, such a good gifted speaker. He was with Toastmasters International. And Toastmasters has competitions at the local, regional, state, national, international levels.
Right.
And they have different categories. And Dad loved to give humorous talks. So he was in the humorous division. And he took, I think it was second in the world that year for the humorous division of storytelling. And of course, they had the tight, those timelines, 10 minutes plus or minus X amount of minutes. You get points if you stay within a certain range, and then you lose points. So knowing his history of being a great orator, I had to listen to all his campaign speeches. I was not into politics as a 16-year-old.
Yeah, and I imagine so, yeah.
The last thing I wanted to do was listen to Dad's speeches, but I did because he wanted to have someone to listen to him speak so that he could give the speech. So I'd be sitting in his office at work after high school, listening to him give his speeches. Even had me on the radio one time doing a TV or a radio commercial, which was really awkward. That's the last kind of attention you want as a small kid. I mean, as a kid in a small town that has a punchable face. And
it has a punchable face.
So he had elected. He'd been now mayor for 2 years. And so now I'm 18. Life has been pretty good for 2 years since I got my driver's license. I never got a ticket.
Nice.
A couple of times they, pull me over, and as soon as they found out it was the mayor's son, I'd go on my way. I never said I was the mayor's son. That they put two and two together.
Right.
A town of 20,000 people. It's pretty easy to figure out who's who, right?
Yeah.
So I'm with a buddy, and we're driving during the day. I've got an open 6-pack of alcohol in the back.
Uh-oh.
And, have been drinking, and get pulled over. I said to him, I says, "Don't worry, I never get tickets. Today I got a ticket." That son of a bitch. He must be new. He doesn't know,
Yeah.
I didn't say nothing. You had to surrender your driver's license. And so now I don't have a driver's license. So that way I can come to court and face the judge for an open container in the car.
Right. Yeah.
About 2 weeks later, I get pulled over again. And I thought, certainly I'm not going to get a ticket. I have an open container back here. And I got a ticket again for an open container, and he's confiscated my license.
Yeah.
So that means I had 2 driver's licenses.
Oh, God.
And I remember now, you had to be 19 in Illinois to buy alcohol. So I had went to the DMV, and I lied my way through, saying I lost my driver's license, and was able to falsify that I was born in 1959, which would make me 19 years old, not 18. So I had one that allowed me to get alcohol, then I had the real one. So the one I gave the first cop was the real one. The one I gave the second cop was issued to me, but it was unauthorized, forged document because it did not have my true date of birth. And so now I had a real problem on my hands, in addition to a drinking problem. And I thought, shit. And I did not want to tell my dad. Telling my dad anything was just a bad experience in life. The disappointment, the choice of words. He did not believe in sparing the rod. He to spoil the child. And I never told him. Well, somebody must have told him that I had 2 driver's licenses, and I had 2 citations in a 2-week period for driving with an open container. So the day that I was due at court, he said to me in the morning, he must have stayed home intentionally. He said, "Got any big plans today?" And, when he doesn't ask that kind of question ever.
Yeah.
And I said, "Kinda, yeah. What's going on?" He said, "I got to be at Lewiston Courthouse at 9:00 or whatever time it was supposed to be." He says, "Why?" And of course, I know he knows. Now I got to tell him. And then he says, "So how you getting there?" Well, I'm not supposed to drive my car.
Yeah.
I don't have a driver's license, and I don't have either one of them. And I says, "I haven't quite figured that one out yet." Well, Lewiston Courthouse, if I'm driving, is like a 20-minute drive.
Yeah.
And Lewiston was I think it was Lewiston Courthouse, whatever the damn courthouse. So he says, "Would you like me to give you a drive to the court?" I says, "That would be nice. Thank you, Dad." And apparently I'd already missed, I'm now starting to remember, I missed one court date already.
Oh, geez.
So that puts a warrant out on your arrest because you weren't there.
Yeah.
So awkward silence, driving there to the courthouse. Didn't talk about the crimes against humanity at all. And get inside the courthouse. We all rise. Judge comes in, takes his seat. We all seat. Judge looks around the audience. He says, "Mayor Crouch, you're in my courtroom?" My father stands and says, "Yes, I am, Your Honor." He says, "And why are you in my courtroom, Mayor?" He says, "My son is here to see you. Will you be representing him?" My father looks down at me. Man, I'm thinking right away, I'm getting out of this one. We have the mayor, my dad, who's a gifted speaker.
Yeah.
Get me out of this. He'd be the Johnny Cochran of that time. Who's not O.J. Simpson.
Right.
The glove doesn't fit. You must have quit. So my father looked at me. "You want me to represent you?" I says, "Yeah." Enthusiastic. I didn't want to be held accountable. And he would like me to represent him, Your Honor. He says, "Oh, very well. We'll eventually get to his case." So the judge wanted to set a precedent. So I'm sure the two of them talked in advance.
Yeah.
And he was going to have other cases and have some leniency that he planned to give them. And so we're probably the fifth case heard. So it reads off my name. My father and I both stand. And he says, "And how do you plead?" Well, I thought it was my turn to talk. I started to speak, and my father turned and put his hand on me as telling me to shut the fuck up. And so I did. That's my attorney. You do what he says. He said, "Your Honor, I ask that you send a very clear and very strong message to the community. It doesn't matter who you are, how rich you are, how poor you are, the color of your skin, who you know, but there's only one rule of law, and Lady Justice is blind. And please send a strong message so people do not think that based on who you are depends on how you're held accountable." And I thought, oh, this is ugly. And he says, "As you have requested, so it shall be." Slams the gavel down. He said, "There will be no driving permit for work. License suspended 1 year."
Oh,
Yeah. I had a job that by car took, I worked in Peoria from Canton, and I was in Peoria at the JCPenney Auto Center as a car mechanic. Well, that was going to be a hard job to keep when by car it takes like 25, 30 minutes to get there. And so my father drove me for a short period of time, but he talked to the Ford dealer in town, in Canton, got me a job as a mechanic there. Until I managed to get myself fired for a very poor work ethic. Again, I was not marriage material. I had nothing but failure in my cards that I chose to deal out to myself. So this is really troubling because What 18-year-old kid wants to be stuck? You already graduated high school, but you have no transportation.
Right.
You have a 67 Mustang in the driveway at home. And you can't drive for a year. So I'm on a bicycle, a no-speed bicycle, little Stingrays.
Yeah.
Pedaling through town, probably lunchtime. I see two girls sitting on the front porch of their house. I never seen them before. I didn't know who they were, but I pulled up on my Stingray bicycle, put the kickstand down, and sat there like a biker, like Fonzie from Happy Days. I wooed the ladies. And me and this one girl really had this connection going.
Yeah.
And it went for like 20 minutes. So I did what any young man would do. Would you like to go to the drive-in movie tonight? She says, oh, yes. And she's excited, enthused. I thought, man, I got it going on. I may look like a dork, and people may think I'm a dorky person, but I just want a date on a bicycle at 18. And I said, curious, do you have a driver's license? She said, why? Don't you have a car? I says, oh, I got a car. Just curious if you had a driver's license. She says, I don't remember her answer. And, but I realized that she wasn't going to drive me. I remember that much.
Yeah.
And, I thought I was going to lose the date when she asked, what, don't you have a driver's license or a car? So I didn't want to lose the date. And I said, I'll pick you up at about 4:30, which is kind of early for that time of year. But I had a reason. Maybe it's 5:30. And the more I'm thinking about it, it's probably 5:30 when I picked her up. Because drive-ins start at night when the sun goes down. And this is the fall. And so I get that bicycle and take off, and then I go pick her up at 5:30 at her house. She says, where's the car? Well, I said, I have one. I'm just not allowed to drive it. I had my license suspended for a year. And they all know what my car looks like because, you know, my dad's the mayor, and they enjoyed pulling me over. And I said, hey, we're going to have a good time. Yeah, I'll give you the seat. And so she gets on. I go, oh, yeah. I still got it, man. I still have game. So I started pedaling her ass. Now, a few years ago, I looked up on Google Earth to find out just how far did I pedal her fat ass. And as I remember, I was parched. I wish I had some water. I was so freaking thirsty. And the heat, humidity, she weighs as much, if not more than me. So that's a lot of weight on a no-speed bicycle.
Yeah.
I was a gentleman. I gave her the seat. And I stood on the pedals, and I pedaled the two of us for probably 7 miles and up and down some slight hills. And now we get down to where we're going to merge into for this drive-in theater. And it's kind of embarrassing because people I know in high school that have now graduated are laughing with their radios playing and their windows, rolled down. Hey, Crouch! Nice set of wheels you got there and stuff like that, I get up to the gate where you pay, and I told him, I says, I promise I'm not hiding anybody. And I always wondered, who were the benches for up there at the refreshment stand at a drive-in theater? Well, it's for losers like me who don't have a car, and they show up on foot or on bicycle. That's who it is. Now it's kind of dark. I could tell she was kind of embarrassed about the whole event. I need to drink so bad, having pedaled us forever to get there. And I said, I'm going to go up and get a Coke. Would you like a soda? She said yes. And so I finished standing in line. I returned to where my bicycle is next to the bench with the little metal hanging speaker box. And she's not there. So I keep drinking. I'm looking around. It's kind of like Steve Martin in the movie The Jerk, drinking and looking around. And I don't see her anywhere. So I go to the women's restroom, And so I asked the lady who came out, I says, is there anybody in there right now? She says, no. And I thought to myself, she left me to get in somebody's car. So I start walking around and I find her in a car, right? And that's when I realized she was not the one for me. She was what you might call a car whore. She gave herself up for a car. And she was not authentic. She wasn't a good woman who'd be honest to me, because I could not trust her to ride with me across town on a bicycle and to go with me on the way home.
Man, that's so messed up.
So
I mean, you pedaled hard to get her there too.
I did. I paid for her ticket and her drink. So I sat there to try and enjoy the movie, but I really couldn't enjoy it because I felt like a loser at that moment.
Yeah.
And note to self, you're a loser. And let's go to Howard the Duck. And so Howard the Duck was a recruit of mine. And at the time, that movie, Howard the Duck, was in the theaters.
Okay.
There comes a point, probably around week 3, the heels start to sound pretty good when you march the platoon of recruits.
Right.
But one of my recruits had 3 feet, 2 on one side and 1 on the other, because it'd be heel toe. But him, he did heel slap. So that slap was all by itself. He didn't roll to the toe. He hit the heel slap, and it's driving me nuts not knowing where this is coming from. So out on the parade deck, stop.
Yeah.
Sit, Nuba, and stand. First squad, fall in. I want all of you to watch. I need to find out who is slapping their foot on the deck when they're marching. And so I marched the first squad, marched the second squad. It was third squad. And then toward the end. And here's this heel slap on the left foot, and then the right heel. Heel on the left foot, slap on the ball of the foot, and then the right heel. And I had to keep narrowing it down. I could hear it, but then I had to march them by fire teams 4 at a time until I found it. And I says, it's you. You're the one ruining my drill for 3.5 weeks. I said, son, doesn't your knee hurt when you march? No, sir. I said, yes, it does. I know it has to hurt. In fact, you're probably going to end up wearing out your knee prematurely. We're going to medical tomorrow morning. We're going to find out what's wrong with your leg. And so I went with him, just like I did recruit Stone, who had a bad posture problem.
Yeah.
I kept going with my recruits to medical, trying to get them kicked out. So he had always been the emotional punching bag for the platoon because he was a screw up to begin with. He had, I think, 3 rows of lower teeth and 2 rows of upper teeth.
Oh, geez.
Yes, when you look at him, it was nothing but like alligator teeth in there. It looked god awful. And he was short and dumpy looking. I think he had glasses. Of course, everybody was issued birth control glasses. And when he spoke, it was very saliva heavy, like a duck, Howard the Duck. And somehow I succeeded in getting him thrown out of the Marine Corps.
Oh, my God.
For leg problems, knee problems, and whatnot. And,
no kidding. Wow.
So he may have latched onto that and exaggerated things to the doctor. I don't know. But my problem was solved. He no longer ruined the quality of my close order drill.
You got Howard the Duck kicked out of the boot camp. That's good.
When I was in Southern California, I was a Lance Corporal or Corporal at the time. I was a Lance Corporal, as a matter of fact, because I had an XO 500 Honda dirt bike still.
And, nice.
So the staff sergeant that I worked for in Power Line, at that time they call it Power Plants, for the F4 Phantom at BMFA 323, the Death Rattlers at El Toro, California.
Mm-hmm.
He said, hey, the flight schedule is light. let's go ride our bikes in the hills. He had a dirt bike too. And so we got on our dirt bikes in our camouflage uniform and headed out the back gate, drove up into the Saddleback Mountains, and
Nice.
we were seeing who could outride who. And, I was doing a pretty good job, I think, of outriding him to that point. But being gullible as a young Marine, he says, I bet you ain't got the balls to climb that hill. Now, looking at it from the ground, it looked insurmountable. The Grim Reaper, Mount Motherfucker. Those are kind of terms that you think of when you look at the hill. And now, typically, what I would do is I'd walk the hill so I could look at it and see how it looks different when you're up there versus from way down below.
Yeah.
But he challenged my man card. And I wasn't going to let that go unchallenged.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me show you how it's done, old man. And it's probably 32 years old, you know. And so I went back there, got it full throttle, 5th gear, and I hit the base of the hill. And then as the RPMs would drop, I would then downshift and get the RPMs up again, keeping the throttle at full throttle. So I was redlining this bike going all the way up this hill, but I'm losing velocity, speed. And as I get closer to the top, now I'm in 1st gear, and I'm at that point that, oh no, I can see it. I'm at like 7/8 from making it over the top. And some 4-wheeler had gotten stuck, and it created this trench. As it rotated right and left, it created this huge trench, and it had a difference in elevation of about 2 feet. And the nose of my bike went into that rut. And when it did, I high-sided on the motorcycle, which means I went end over end, the handlebars, and I went to the right. And it was slow motion because it was stressful. Stressful because it was a cactus patch, a huge cactus patch. These are the kind of cactuses that are flat petals, and the petals are horizontal, and they have 2 and 3 inch long thorns sticking out of them.
Yeah.
And this was the huge cluster. And I thought, oh my God. All I could think about was my eyeballs going to get punched, right? Put my hands up. And so I landed an impact. Now, those petals are not all neatly aligned vertically at the same elevation point. They're intertwined to each other like a meat grinder. Right. And so when I went in there, trying to get out was going to be just as painful. Yeah. A lot of needles broke. I just was motionless. And I screamed when I went to try and extrapolate myself from that cactus patch. Because I could hear thorns ripping off of the cactus petals. And a couple petals stayed with the needles as they were clinging to me. And I looked down there, and it seemed to be a distance of 75 yards. And there's the staff sergeant. He fell off his motorcycle laughing so hard because he thought it was funny as shit. I didn't see anything funny about the moment. And I was wearing the lightweight poplin camouflage uniform.
Oh, no.
That thing might as well have been lace underwear. It was not going to stop anything from coming through. I start reaching and plucking all of these. Now, even my gloves have thorns in them. So I got to get my gloves off, and it's ripping up my skin. I got the thorns out, got the gloves off, and I start plucking and plucking. My motorcycle's on its side, still going, yeah. But I wasn't going to try and get to the bike until I got enough movement without those big-ass needles. And I went over there and killed the engine. I yelled at him, says, get up here and help me. Fuck you. My damn boss, right? Fuck you, Crouch. And so I dropped my trousers. I'm trying to pull, my pants don't want to fully drop because they're sticking in my ass and thighs. And easily I had pulled 50, 70 needles out of my body. I looked at my bike. It looked like it was attacked by a porcupine. I had needles in the knobby tires, front and rear, needles in the seat, and 1 or 2 in my hand grip. And so
holy cow.
At the 10-minute mark, probably, I've got enough needles out of me and dethorned my bike. I have to get the bike down. I can't kickstart it on this hill. It's flooded.
Yeah.
And so it's too scary to turn and sit on it and ride down.
Yeah.
This is a steep hill. So I had to shimmy sideways and scoot my motorcycle down the side of the hill.
Wow.
Finally get to the bottom. I stand the bike up. Then I go to start it. It's flooded. Even worse, every time that I kick, my butt touches the seat. And when it does, the small needles that I was unable to grip were being rubbed into my ass cheeks. After many attempts, I get the bike started. Now we got to ride back. It's about a 25 minute drive to get back to the squadron.
Yeah.
I stand on the pegs in deep, soft sand this entire time. It is so fatiguing to hold your body up on the pegs and get back, as dare you not sit your ass on the seat. MP at the gate tried to get me to sit down. I said, there is no way I'm sitting down. I've got cactus needles in my ass. And, and I continued through. So I get into the shop. I shuffle my walk. I don't just really set my heels down like a Marine. I start undressing in front of my fellow devil dogs. What the hell are you doing, Crouch? I says, I got ejected off my bike into a cactus patch. I pulled 70 needles at least, if not more. I said, I need you guys to help me and get the ones that I can't grip that are sticking in my ass. I'm not helping you, you freaking homo. And Marines do not help each other when they have a need. And I hope things have changed in the Marine Corps, but they probably have not. And so not a single one would help me. Your NCO leadership, nothing. Staff NCO leadership, nothing. So I go shuffling to the corpsman, where the corpsman had an office.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, man, I need you to help me. I said, I got needles stuck in my ass. He says, I heard about this already. So my Marines called over and says, don't help Crouch.
No.
Look them out yourself. I says, I can't. I've been trying to find them and I can't. And I said, I need you to grip them. And yes, you're a goddamn corpsman. I need first aid.
Did he ever cave? Did he help you?
I can't remember if he helped me. I just remember for a couple of weeks, I hated that motorcycle. I hated sitting down. I was always feeling the fiber of small needles under my skin, irritating the shit out of it until my body either absorbed and dissolved it, or who knows what happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be falling in those cactus bushes. That's for sure, man. Those things are, and if I'm not mistaken, the ones you're talking about, those are the huge, like 6 foot around type of plants. Yeah. Yeah, definitely don't want that.
There was a Marine, Sergeant Brown, VMFA 115, the Silver Eagles. We're over in Iwakuni, Japan. At that time, we worked our shop out of a Quonset hut. And this Quonset hut, like if you don't know what it is, it's a dome-shaped building made of metal, galvanized, and kind of like the TV show Gomer Pyle, USMC, and they stayed in those.
Right.
I was heading to the movie theater one night, and as I was on the sidewalk, there's a fence between the sidewalk and the Quonset hut because that was part of the aviation side where the hangar was and the aircraft, and our Quonset huts were working shops. Well, I hear screaming going on, like someone's being tortured. So I stop, and the distance between the fence and the back glass is probably 8 feet. And it's dusk, still some light outside, but inside it's illuminated. And there's Lance Corporal Wilson bare-chested in a folding chair. Now, we'd only been there for a couple of days. And then Corporal Strobel, John Holcomb, he was a corporal or a sergeant at the time. and Grady Burnett, he was a Lance Corporal. They were all in there, and one of them had a clipboard, and the other one had a device in his hand. And then I'd see him had electrodes on his titties, and he's screaming. So I go back inside the compound. I come into the shop to where my office is on the back side, where they were having fun in my office. I said, what in the fuck is going on here? He says, oh, this is pretty cool, Gunny. Look at this. And they had created a chart. They had each person's name. And then on the left column was a different body part.
Okay.
And then so it might say nose, earlobe, cheek, nipples, navel, balls. I mean, the whole thing. And they had all these different anatomy parts. And then at the moment that you yelped or screamed, whatever that value was is where you got that score.
Okay. That makes sense.
Whoever had the highest score before they yelped was the man. It was a man test.
Mm-hmm.
And so they had columns going left or right of the scoring, as I recall. No, of the names of the Marines.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted me to get down there and do it. I took a pass on it. Now, this device was supposed to be an abdominal muscle tension machine that you send an electric voltage through these electrodes on your abdominals, and it's like doing 1,000 crunches.
Right.
And so, you know how Marines are. We do anything we can to be entertained. And someone left that behind, and someone used it for its not intended purpose. So
like
one day,
everything.
And we have a tight flight schedule. We have no time to go break away and let everybody go eat chow. So I took a worthless person on my team, Sergeant Brown, and I said, Sergeant Brown, I said, you go to the chow hall. Here's all the meal cards. You get bag lunches for everybody. Get on back here. Hurry up. We're starving, man. He comes in about an hour and 15 minutes later. Now, to walk to get to the chow hall is probably 7 minutes. 9 if you're slow.
Yeah.
Why did it take him damn near an hour and 20 minutes? So he came back with the meals. I says, where in the fuck have you been? He said, I did what you said. I got meals. I said, it doesn't take that long to get a bag nasty. I said, where's yours? He says, I ate at the chow hall. I said, oh, really? You ate at the chow hall. That's good NCO leadership. You took care of your Marines by eating at the chow hall, and you bring them back a bag nasty. You're not eating at the chow hall anymore. In fact, my Marines are going to pick you up a meal every day for you, so you don't have to be bothered going to the chow hall. Oh, they bring back destroyed potato chips. I mean, the worst choices of anything you could get, they put in there, and they brought him back this worthless meal because Sergeant Brown decided to show great leadership and feed his fat face, and then bring back room temperature bag nasties to his Marines.
Wow.
Yeah, he didn't like me. That's the guy that they were upset that I did not put on quota that was worthless. And I said, either he's going to be learn how to be competent in his job, or he's going to be well documented that he can't do it and get promoted. Of course, he did not get promoted. But you remember the Far Side comics?
Yeah, I do.
We loved them, and we'd always modify whatever the words were in that one panel cartoon to be people in the shop. So we created a book, and so it said, do not open this book and read it unless your name is on the inside indicating that you are fair game. So he never put his name in there. He wanted so bad he'd see people laughing hysterically from the things that we wrote. Now we would never we'd never make fun of you unless your name was in the book. So we're only making fun of each other. Well, he decided to put his name in there. And then he didn't like what was being said because now he's fair game because he put his name in there. in that boat. And so he ended up trying to turn me in and get me non-judicial punishment for hazing and whatnot. And so that didn't go anywhere. Didn't take any traction.
Oh, geez.
So hygiene inspections at OCS. We only did them during the first week, which was Poopyville, known as NDOC. And in the Marine Corps, we would say recruit receiving for 7 days. I had 2 bottles. One bottle was Aqua Velva, and the other one was Dragon Breath. Dragon Breath was a combination of Biodent mouthwash and Listerine. And with that, it was like taking a drink of scotch whiskey. It just had a horrible taste. You put it in your mouth, you don't want to swallow it. And I never made my officer candidates or my recruits swallow Listerine or any mouthwash, because Listerine says not for consumption on the label. And that's a good way to get court-martialed, because you made them drink something that was not made for human consumption.
Right.
It's made to be swished around and spit out. So I was going down the line, and I would say at the end of my inspection of their human body, to make sure I didn't have a filthy pig in the platoon or the class, I would say, close. And they would close their eyes and close their mouth, and I'd hit 3 blasts of Aqua Velva to the face.
Okay.
When I say open, you only open your mouth. And therefore, you would get 3 blasts of Aqua Velva. I'm sorry, 3 blasts of Dragon Breath, the Listerine and mouthwash. And then I tell them to swish violently. Until, because everything has to be aggressive in the Marine Corps. I said, do a swish violently until I finish my hygiene inspection. So if you're one of the first ones, it now feels like acid eating away your gum line, right? So you better hope I'm fast. If someone snickers because of my insult that I made, oh, you want my attention? Get over here now, boy. And they come up there, and I says, open. And they'd open their mouth, and I'd hit them 3 times inside the mouth with the squirt gun that has the Dragon Breath concoction. And I have them go back there, and they have to squish that violently. I better see cheeks moving at rapid movement, that they're pushing that around through the gum lines. And I'd probably get done, and I'd tell the platoon, before I got done, there would be idiots in there, right? Had this one idiot, I think his name was Cox, and I'm not sure if his first name was Anthony, but I do know his last name was Cox. And he was stupid. He couldn't follow instructions. So I'd say close, right? He'd open his mouth. So Aqua Velva went in the mouth. And then I'd say open, he'd open his eyes and his mouth, and then he'd get 3 blasts in the face, maybe his eyeballs of the mouthwash, because he's a dumbass. Why should I compensate for your lack of attention to detail? And because lack of attention to detail can get you killed.
Now, how many times did that happen before he figured it out?
Some, it seemed like they never figured it out because they're stressed. Everything was stressful. And so when people are under stress, they don't always process information well.
True. Yeah.
So I'd face them to the right and send them in the head to go spit and come back online. Well, here are my top 10 best insults at hygiene inspection.
Oh, God.
Your breath smells like ass, and I don't want to know why. Insult number 2. Jesus Christ. Don't ever fucking open your mouth in my direction again. From this point on, you will always rotate your head 180 degrees when speaking to me, cadaver breath. That one, her name was Cho, C-H-O, last name. And she was in Gunner Sergeant Seals class at OCS. I stopped her in the hallway because she did something stupid. And she started to speak to me ballistically. And I was only maybe 6 feet away. But my God, I thought a shrimp boat had just landed in the port. It was god awful. And at that point, don't you ever speak in my direction again. From this point forward, you will always rotate your head 180 degrees to the rear and speak holistically. Do you understand me? And she'd rotate her head. Oh, sir. Yes, sir. And come back. And I remember one time I went to do a room locker personnel inspection, and she was in the room, right? I went to take her intentionally before the other drill instructors got to her. I reached back behind her and I pulled out this little shaving kit, right? I unzipped it, and the Listerine mouthwash, a small bottle, had never been opened. They normally never are, right? They put them in there for display. I says, let me guess, you've never used it. I says, break the seal. I says, now start chugging and don't swallow. Right. And I made it finally swish for like 30 seconds, spit into the trash can that was in the room. Yeah. And then I did a room inspection. After the insult, Jesus, you have more barnacles on your teeth than a shrimp boat has on its hull. Number 4. Oh my God. You have more bacteria in your mouth than a Komodo dragon. If you don't know, a Komodo dragon has one of the most toxic saliva in the world. You get bit by it, you might end up losing your life from the infection. Number 5. I always save this one for the females. Did you ever have a date? To which she replied, yes, sir. To which I said, oh, I bet he remembers you. It must have been a night to remember for him. Either he lacked the sense of smell, worked as a mortician, or wore cadaver cream on his upper lip to get past your open pie hole.
Oh, God.
Number 6. Your breath smells like a week-old crime scene, pig. Number 7. Let me be clear, halitosis Bob. You better create a love affair with your toothbrush, or I will drown you in Listerine. Number 8. Who the hell are you, Quasimodo? Understand this, freak. I don't care if you use a Nylabone chew toy for dogs. You better get some abrasion on those teeth to remove the roadkill you just ate, or I swear to God, I will kill you. Number 9.
Oh, my God.
There's a biological war being waged in your mouth, and you're losing the war, pig. Rotting flesh. Your breath smells like rotting flesh, pig.
Those are good. Oh, my God. That's priceless. Whew.
Yes. I wanted to keep doing them, but then I'd be in trouble because I'd be the only drill instructor doing hygiene inspections after the first week of training.
Yeah. Oh my God, that is good.
So what we got here? So the routine at Navy OCS, Pensacola, was 1 week at Poopyville. And then they have a room locker personnel inspection on Friday. And they had arrived the preceding Saturday, as I recall.
Okay.
They were going to fail. There's no way they're going to pass this inspection. There's no candidate class ever that's capable of passing the inspection.
Right.
So it's just an opportunity to create stress. And stress we did. Well, me and Gunner Sergeant Willette were in the same room. These are always 4-man rooms. And so we'd have anywhere from 4 to 7 drill instructors in there. But because there was usually 6 drill instructors working on average, lucky for 7 if we ever had 7. And so as I was grabbing things, I'd grab a pillow and I threw it behind me without looking. It hit Gunny Willette in the head, knocking his campaign cover off. I thought that was kind of funny, right? Willette thought it was funny too. So we carried forward from the first room. And let's see that, we had 40, that's 10 rooms at least that we're going to go through. We continued this pillow fight. that we grab pillows and throw it at each other, trying to knock each other's cover off. And so the officer candidates had no idea how much fun we were having because we were saying hurtful and hateful things at the same time. And they thought all the attention was on them, but it's actually me and Willette making fun of each other. And so then Saturday in battalion, they're ostracized by the rest of the battalion. The other classes will not speak to them, acknowledge their presence in life. We position them in a location of this H-shaped barracks. If you look at it from the sky, it looks like the letter H. And so in the long centerpiece, that is an area that I had 2 signs that I carved out of wood that said combat zone and painted them blood red letters with a camouflage woodland pattern, olive drab paint colors. Right. I hung it at each end, anything to create more emotional experience to their 13 weeks of hell. And so imagine you're walking in, it says combat zone and the kind of things that might happen there. Well, we have to do what's called office entry procedures. How you have to teach them how to enter the drill instructor's office, right? How to exit the office. And I remember sitting there and I counted how many things can go wrong or that you're being judged on. And it was an insane number, like 52 or 54 little discrepancies that could occur to cause you to not be perfect on your approach to the hatch. Right. And then requesting, pounding the hatch, requesting permission to enter, crossing the hatch, and halting. Now, in this rectangle room were 4 desks. And we had 2 rooms like this for all of us drill instructors. And we put the desk at a 45-degree angle to the corners. So if you imagine, instead of being parallel to a wall, we were turned the desk 45. So I had 2 walls, one to my left and one to my right. Okay. My desk is there. So it kind of looks like from the top down, a stop sign, an octagon. Okay. And now we've got a brass plate. It's heavy. It's at least a 1/4 inch thick. It's engraved USMC. And it's highly polished. And it was set on the tile floor, VCT tile floor, right there at the threshold. So when you are outside the office, and I told the candidates, I had them all lined up in the hallway, I said, get your eyes on me and study and watch everything that I do. And I give them a legitimate class, speaking like I'm now speaking to you now, not threatening, just a command voice and speaking loud so all could hear. And I talk about all the details on what you're being measured on. When you raise your, you halt yourself parallel to the door frame, 4 inches off the bulkhead. It's your last chance to freely look at yourself and your body position. You will then take 1 step, halt, do a facing movement. You better be centered left to right in the door frame. If you overstepped or understepped, you will not be centered, and therefore you've already screwed up. In which case you'll be invited into the office to do incredible number of hops and pops, spins and thrusts, side sort of hops, and we're going to PT you to death. And but if you got that far, then you take your hand up parallel to your right eye, and then you slap the hatch 3 times, like this, then slap the hatch 3 times. Finger extended, joined thumb curled back down to the position of attention. You will not use your eyeballs to move in the socket. You have a 1,000-mile stare, and you use your peripheral senses on who's in there, if anybody. And if you do get acknowledgement, doesn't mean to come in. They will ask, what do you want? Sir, Recruit Johnson reporting to Class Drill Instructor Gunner Sergeant Crouch as ordered, sir. And then you'd either be told something from the hatch or you'd be told to come in. If you're told to come in, you will cross it with your left foot. You will never at any time have allowed your feet to make contact with that brass. Now, for you people who have a size 10 or larger foot, it becomes challenging because when you're out in the hallway, parallel to the wall, getting ready to take your 1 step forward, halt, right face, feet together, you better hope your feet are not on top of the brass plate. Because if they are, and I hear that you touch it, you've now touched my brass. another sin, another reason to torture your ass. Now, if I see that or hear it, because what I did every day I came to work, I walked by the sand pit and I grabbed a small handful of sand. Came in, I lifted the plate, I tossed some loose sand underneath it, put the plate back down. It sounded like potato chips being crunched when you touch it with the weight of your foot on that heavy brass. And it just echoed through all that lack of sound absorbing material like carpet. There's no carpet. There's no sound panels on the
genius.
wall. Yes. And so I'd hear brass being stepped on. You're on my brass. Get in here now, pig. And I start wearing out. Right? So finally they get all the way in, if they were lucky enough, and the whole class is watching me intensely. And then the proper report is you better be 6 to 18 inches front thigh to the edge of the desk. 6 to 18 inches.
Right.
I had a swagger stick that I made, and I carved it. In fact, it's right here. Let me get it. Hey, there it is. So I made each one of the drill instructors one. So.
Oh, nice.
And it says, drill is like an orgasm, intense. That was one of my stories I'll be talking about. Gunner Sergeant Crouch. And then the, what's it say here? I can't read it. Oh, drill sluts.
Yeah.
And then the other side is all my class numbers from OCS.
Oh, very cool.
And then on the other side are my platoon numbers at Paris Island.
Oh, wow.
But the groups are 12 and 18 here. So when they were halted, I would slam this forward to make contact with their thigh, and I'd look to see, did the 12-inch or the 18-inch mark, is the desk edge somewhere in that zone?
Yeah.
If not, that's another reason to torture them. And
I'd take awesome.
That thing and I'd slam it just to create more stress in their life.
Yeah, of course.
So then finally it's time, the dismissal, the back step. Aye, sir. And then they do an about face and they march over the threshold. Their left foot better be the foot that goes over the threshold without touching it. And then pivot while marching, rotating their head to the right. Good afternoon, sir. Proper greeting of the day or good morning, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They're on. I never had a number I picked.
Mm-hmm.
If that class on their first attempt, nobody got it right, guess what? Everybody was in there exercising. The most I ever had get it right was like 3 out of 40 plus. So it's all fun and games. I said, and when I'm all done, I ask questions. Are there any questions? Whatever questions they have, I would answer. Now I stopped being a school teacher and I become back to channel the drill instructor, Dr. Evil. And I said, line up and practice, right? And then they get to a point where they made a failure. I stop them. I tell them what they did wrong. I said, get over there. Bends and thrust. Next one. Right now it becomes stressful because you see somebody doing bends and thrusts. And he's doing bends and thrusts. And he's doing bends and thrusts. And then I make sure that they create a pathway for them to get to my desk. And then at some point I'll stop them from exercising. They're exhausted, especially the ones who are the first ones in. I've only gotten maybe a third of the platoon in there. And I'd say things like, not enough room to do those type of exercises. Side straight hops, right? Now they're doing side straight hops, at close interval. And then I'd stop them from doing that. Then I have them doing run in place and steam engines. And the body heat was massive. And the walls were sweating. You'd think it was a movie like The Shining with Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
In fact, there's things that even if you had video, you really couldn't capture it unless you had a cinematographer with you. But the walls were wet with human perspiration, humidity, all that BTU of energy being expended, filling that space. The HVAC system cannot compensate for that amount of humidity of having an office that is probably 14 feet long and maybe 12 feet across, maybe 14 by 20 is what the office was. And, like a master bedroom. And so then I'd stop them again. I say, carefully, without breaking anything, move those desks all the way back into the corners, make more room.
And more room for punishment.
Yes. So there's still people I had to get through, right? The ones who were the first ones were hoping I'd send them away. No, got to make room for the rest. So finally, I get them all, and they all be in there. And the floor was wet. Photographs, the glass on the outside is wet. And so the rule was with the drill instructors, whatever you have that's valuable to you, take it off and put it in the changing room. Because when we do welcome aboard that first Saturday in battalion, they're all it's the same experience for all classes. And so it wasn't just me. It's decades of methodology of how we did things. And it wasn't against the SOP. Maybe how long those first candidates were in there, teaching was against the SOP. Remember, I was allowed to do 10 minutes the first couple of weeks. And then after that, it drops down to 6 minutes. And
10 minutes, holy moly!
But the idea was, the Master Gunner Sergeant, Chief Drill Instructor Jerry Holdry said, called me Nick all the time. All the drill instructors called me Nick, new guy in charge.
Yeah.
Usually associated as an insult. You're a fuck up. You're making mistakes. But we only give harassment to each other. We don't ever give compliments. And,
that's right. Yeah.
They say things like, you're shitting me. You're wearing those so-called spit shines out in front of your candidates today? Yeah, I'm looking at them. They're not a damn thing wrong with it. They look perfect. You're checking your confidence level, right? And,
right.
So he says, Nick, the idea was there'd be a lot of mistakes to correct in the first week. Therefore, you may have many reasons to put them on their face. Not put them on their face for 10 minutes. Put them on their face for 40 seconds, maybe a minute and a half. And now they got them focused again, and they're back online. Well, I was doing the same shit he was doing. I know, because when I wrote the book, The Pressure Cooker, Forging Naval Officers Through Marine Leadership, I read a lot of stories about the hilarity and the comedy, the comedy that he created as a drill instructor 10 years earlier.
That's awesome. Doing
things that he told me I was not permitted to do ever, even though I find out later he had done that shit.
Well, I think he's in a position where he has to say, hey, don't do that. Yeah. So it makes sense, for everybody's, job. I think it's important to say it.
So we had blankets, we'd pop the wool blankets, the green wool blankets we were issued with the big stenciled US on them for United States. And that's what they had on their racks that they slept on. And so at some point in the afternoon, I have them outside in the pit, and I'm PTing the shit out of them in the pit. Then I'd send them inside to get their blankets and to bring their blankets out and shake out all that civilian crud that they got in them blankets, right? So they're outside popping blankets. And if it's done correctly, two things will happen. It will sound like a bullwhip being cracked, because when you snap it downward and then pull it back up, you're not supposed to let the blanket ever touch the ground. So you have to wad up some of the material in your hand to shorten the length of it for us people who have yet to reach the adulthood 6 feet. And so I was 5'7" 3/4. And so I had to roll up a lot in my hands and then snap it. And the second thing that happens, if done correctly, we hear the crack of the bullwhip. You quickly deteriorate your rotator cuffs, and you'll have surgery in about 10 years from the way they get tortured from snapping. And so I'd have them snap. And I got a nice picture of them, and they're holding them over their head, arms fully outstretched. Mm-hmm. All you can see are green blankets being held up, which looks like, by monsters, because their arm reach. And you see their lower half sticking out underneath. Someone had taken a picture of this from the window of the barracks and, left me a little love me gifts, things like that. And it is a nice memory of the recruits or the officer candidates being tortured, because they do what's called a welcome aboard. And we usually pull out of there Saturday at something like 1,500. And you civilians who don't know what that is, figure it out. So 1500, we would do it in the afternoon. And I'll be nice to them. 3 p.m. civilians. So
I love it.
Yes. So while the candidates can't see anything because those blankets are over their head, I say some parting words to them, none of it favorable or motivational. And I walked away, and then all of the upperclassmen show up in my space where I was at. And then someone gives the command, lower the blankets now. And so they lower the blankets, and they see the entire battalion of a couple hundred officer candidates at 2-week intervals of training going up to the most senior. And they've got Gatorades and, candy and all kinds of shit for them, and welcoming them into this big fraternity. And I watched my first one from a hidden spot upstairs where they couldn't see me. And I admit it was an emotional thing. And even though I was not in that space down there, I could understand the bonding moment that occurred when all the upperclassmen are there. And then, of course, they did skits of what life is like here with the drill instructors. And they've done some hilarious skits. I remember one, they had some folding chairs they had put out, and created the theme was a restaurant. And in this restaurant had wait staff that were Marine drill instructors. So there's 2 officer candidates, a man and a woman, coming. They see the host to get seated at a table, and they already had some other people sitting there, and they sit down, and then the waiter comes out, is wearing a overstuffed with all kinds of different clothing underneath to be built bulky like a 300-pound body lifter, body weight bodybuilder, and he's out there, and it says drill instructor painted on the back of his gray sweatshirt. He speaks and acts just like a drill instructor. Does a great job channeling a drill instructor's persona. He said, he walks out there and goes, uncross your freaking legs! Right now, all of a sudden, and then he talks in a normal voice and says, welcome to Drill Instructor's Lost Resort. And here we give you the dining experience of being at OCS. And we serve the finest food that you can find. And all of a sudden, one of them went up there to scratch their faces. Get your freaking nasty hands out of your freaking mouth. You will not put your fingers in your mouth ever. And I can only wonder what people are thinking as they walk their dog past my house right now. And so throughout this entire skit, they'll do human things that the rest of us do, but they will not permit, because it violates the decorum expected of being in this experience.
Right.
And there is a restaurant system that from the Southeast called Dick's. You ever hear of Dick's?
I have. Yeah.
They do a good job. I've never been there, but I've known people who've gone there, and they do a good job of insulting you. And,
I've seen some good videos from there, and they're pretty good, I must admit. But having a no kidding, legit drill instructor restaurant experience, I think that would go over really well.
Yes,
that's what we need right there.
Yeah, it is. You have no problem. You could set them up near all the military bases.
Yeah. It'd be packed all the time. It would have to be. Everybody wants to get insulted,
Yes, absolutely. And there is employment opportunities for vets. Vets are having a hard time acclimating to civilian culture. Now you can imagine you're on your resume, you finally leave that to go to another restaurant chain.
What's to do?
Wait a minute. You're at Devil Dog Inn? What's Devil Dog Inn? Oh, it gives the Marine Corps recruit training experience to the patients. They do what? And
revelation.
And all of a sudden you start snapping into your old personality that you did for 9 years at Devil Dog Inn, and you get fired in the first few minutes.
Oh my God. That is, the Devil Dog Inn should be open squad bay. Something like that. So showers, you count them down, it'd be fun. It'd be a good time.
I'll jump real quickly off schedule here. Back in 2012, I got hired for a new hospital that was under construction, and I was going to be the director of facilities. And construction is one of my requirements to be involved in. And of course, we had to come up with a name for the cafeteria. So this hospital is a religious-based organization, and which is amazing. They have forgiveness in their heart because I'm still employed after 14 years. But so all I could think about was Chow Hall. Chow Hall, Mess Hall, and a couple other names, right? But I couldn't think of anything that fit their narrative or what they wanted. They ended up going with something safe. Cafeteria.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
So when so I had a calendar from a Far Side, and the Far Side calendar was a classroom with T-Rex dinosaurs. There's one there marking on the calendar, kill something and eat it, right?
Yeah.
And then that was it. That big calendar, the T-Rex, and he's writing in, kill something and eat it. Well, I changed those all to read, torture pigs all day. And I blew it up a little bit bigger, and I had it under glass on my desk. So when the officer candidates would clean my office at night, they would see this calendar and torture pigs all day. And then I had on a real calendar, torture pigs all day long. And it was the day that they were there, because when I was doing battalion procedures, learning how to enter and exit an office, and they were all exercising on top of my desk, next to my desk, right? They're eyeballing the area. They're looking. One of them would have seen torture class or torture pigs all day, and they'd realize, and today is that day. And they're thinking, this is only 10:30 in the morning. When does this end? And, anything to mess with them. That was my whole
That's
goal.
good.
This is a program that you can quit the moment you arrive to the moment you get commissioned.
Yeah.
So let's find out if they have any quit in their DNA and help them discover it early so you don't waste everybody's time. So,
help them discover it early.
it was a Monday, and my class was at academics, learning about something in the Navy. And so I'm not going to be over there with them. We didn't sit in classrooms with them. They want them to be relaxed and to memorize information.
Mm-hmm.
So we could enter the building, but we could not ever go into the classes. But I would walk by just to make them nervous. They'd know I'd be there. I'd hang out in the hallway. When they come out on break, they'd see me, and all of a sudden it just ruined their whole day. And, so this particular class on a Monday, they have time management problems. And that's one of the things we want to teach you is time management in the Marine Corps. Enlisted boot camp and officer training. Their rooms, 4-man rooms, all have to be set up in a certain way. The foot display, the rack perfectly made, the table display on the 4 desks as they conjoin together. It's like putting 4 squares together. And then you carefully open the drawer so you don't jinx them. And if I just jerked it open, it would shift the content in there. So I'm an honest broker. I'm not going to lie. So I'd carefully open the drawer and look to see, is there a ruler dead center, left or right? Is there a letter writing kit in there that has no stationery written upon it, ready for a letter? Mm-hmm. Is there an ink pen? We call it an ink stick. Better be black, skill craft. And that's the only thing that would be in that desk. Well, I'm in there checking locks, spinning dials, seeing if I can find unlocked or preset locks.
Yeah.
And then I open up this drawer and I see a wallet. I go, fuck me. So I grab that wallet. I always look at the wallet to see how much money's in there.
Yeah.
Right? Usually it's $20 or less. Occasionally a big spender might have 40 or 50. Uh-huh. And I'm now having more than I can comfortably carry. So I take the trash bag liner of an 8-gallon can and I start throwing these wallets in there. Probably half of the class have wallets in their desk. Well, I'm going to have a fun pit call when I torture this class to get their wallets back. I always look to see how much money's in there. One of these pigs has $174. I thought, holy shit. Good thing a Marine found it, because Marines don't steal.
Yeah.
I'm going to teach this boy a lesson. I can't give him back this money. If I give him this money back, he will once again tempt thievery in the barracks and create a thief. I cannot take that chance. I'm going to take my personal vehicle, burn my time and my gasoline, and I'm going to cash it in. So I went to Navy Federal Credit Union on base, and I said, I have $174 here. I would like nickels, pennies, and dimes. Oh, we don't have that much, sir. You don't have that much money and change? You're kidding me. Well, we have to have some that we leave for other people in transactions. I had to go to 3 banking institutions to get $174 in nickels, pennies, and dimes.
Oh my God.
So that evening, after evening chow, I put the 1MC microphone on, which blasts the entire barracks, second floor and first floor, so everybody can hear what's being said. I rang the brass bell repeatedly. All right. If you lost your wallet because you left it in your room unsecured, get down to my quarter deck now. Right? Now all those pigs come down. I said, I'm going to PT you all later. I said, I want a self-report sheet on my desk. Then you'll get your wallets so I can remember to torture you later. I said, Officer Candidate France, class 139 or 7, Staff Sergeant Sands class. I said, boy, and this is over the intercom system, you are going to have a special hell to pay. Bring your rifle when you come down here. Right? So he comes down with his rifle. I said, left your wallet unsecured, did you? Yes, sir. I said, get that rifle up, boy. Spread them legs. Start pumping. You are going to learn how to count. You're going to learn a lesson that you'll never forget. You'll probably never even own a wallet after this. I am going to torture your ass because it's lucky that a Marine found your wallet because Marines have integrity and don't steal. I said, how much was in that wallet? A lot of money, sir. How much was in that wallet? This officer candidate doesn't know, sir. I said, well, what do you say we find out? I said, I can't give you the money back because you're irresponsible. You'll do it again. And somebody else will find it before me, and they'll have $174 or more. I said, so I cash it in for loose change. You know why? Sir, no, sir. I said, because nobody steals loose change. I said, I'm going to give you a fair chance because it's not common knowledge. This is a roll of dimes. And I told him how much money is in a roll of dimes. It's a roll of pennies. How much is in a roll of pennies? How much is in a roll of nickels? I said, I slit these for my pleasure. As I bust out each roll of coinage, you will announce loudly what the running tally is on coinage.
Oh, jeez.
And I left it on hot mic. So everything I'm saying is being heard by everybody in the battalion.
Oh, my God.
We're probably 7 minutes into this. Down comes running 3 other officer candidates to join him. Well, that's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be there to suffer with your idiots, right?
Uh-huh.
But I'm not going to give them that pleasure. I says, oh, good. You want to pay? Why are you down here? Sir, he made a mistake and we all should pay. I said, good logic. And you will pay, but not right now. I want a check for paying on my desk on why you failed to help him out prior to leaving his wallet out for everyone to take. Because see, that's how it's supposed to work. You prevent people from being stupid. You don't show up at the punishment. If he's getting a court-martial or non-judicial punishment, are you going to be standing there to get one with him? No, you're not. Your time to help him was before he made a mistake. So
nice.
We get the $25. I rattle that bell loud. $25 and counting, right? So you know it's got to be like a World Series baseball game. They're up there listening because they can hear him grunting. He's pushing the rifle up, overhead press, back down, straight out, straight in, straight up, straight down, straight out, straight in. And then I'd have them all the way up, all the way down, just to work the body. This is taking more than 10 minutes. In fact, he's so far along in training, it's supposed to be 6 minutes or less. And I bet you 25, 30 minutes have gone by.
Oh, geez.
Somebody came out and took a picture from the second floor balcony looking down. And you know how it is. Drill instructors get lost in the moment. They're not aware. And, that a camera just took some pictures. They got 3 pictures of me and him. And the floor is littered with hundreds and hundreds of coinage. And $50 and counting, $75 and counting. And let me go up here and put in here documents and put in this. Go back to there. $174. Just a second.
Yep, no problem.
107. Get out of here. Contest, the book contest. So the total tally count was probably 3,000 and some coins that hit the deck. And I was doing my best to trip him up on the denominations. And right now I can't seem to find what I wanted to see. But it was around 3,000 and some coins of nickels, pennies, and dimes.
Holy cow.
The last roll that went out, $174. I thought, how did this kid do it? Well, I connected with him a few years ago, and we talked about it. And I actually got him on another podcast where I think I got him on the podcast with us with a Naval Aviation podcast where I had made a donation to the podcast of $174. But I didn't tell them I wrote the story and told them the story in the box. And I told them, I said, I've sent you a package which is unbreakable. You can kill it with a sledgehammer. You can throw it off a 3-story building. You can stab it with a bayonet. You will not damage it. Don't worry about it being left on your porch and being stolen. Nobody's is going to want to carry it. It weighed like 28 pounds.
Oh, God.
Yes. And so we had a good back and forth, me and the 2 officers, Fig and Repeat. Repeat was the one I mailed it to. And those are call signs for those particular AVAB Harrier pilots for their podcast. So there I was. It's how all great naval aviation stories start. And having 13 years in aviation, I had a lot of aviation stories and stories. But fast forward, several weeks go by. I don't think about him because he's not in my class. He just happened to be a victim that day. A random act of violence, as I used to tell them sometimes. Let's see. You know what you are, boy? No, sir. A random act of violence. I want a 1,000-word essay on Wabi, or chit for pain, and I torture them later just to add misery to their life. See how they handle, bad news, stress, and so I'm with my wife. We're at a nightclub called the Seville Quarter in Pensacola, and so I get this tap on my shoulder, and I look up, and here's a person, and he's not wearing a uniform. He's wearing civilian attire. He's already commissioned recently. And he says, open your hand. I put my hand open, and he put some coins in there. I said, what's this? And he says, you don't know who I am, do you? I says, no. He says, I'm Ensign France. He's now a commissioned ensign, an O2, an O1 in the Navy. And I said, this is what's left of the coinage. And
that's funny.
So I sent him a copy of my book, not dedicated to him, but I made a nice notes in there about him, and sent him pictures of it.
Yeah, definitely a memory he will never forget.
So I always told them, I said, you will never ever be caught with your hands in your pocket. If you're inserting something in your pocket, you'll do it with maximum force and intentionality, and it will quickly come out as fast as it went in. If you're retrieving something, it will come out fast. You will not have any part of your hand hanging out in your pockets ever. If I catch you, you're going to sew up all of the pockets on all of your uniforms. You will take that sewing kit you were issued and use the correct color thread, and you will match stitch for stitch the stitches that outline your pocket. You'll do it on your left and front forward pocket. You would do it on your right rear pocket. You only have one pocket, and that's for your wallet, which will be your left rear pocket. And you'll stay that way until the end of training. I don't care if it's your first week. I don't care if it is 5 days before commissioning. You will do that. And so every class, I'd find a few idiots who are comfortable and they have their hands in their pocket while I happen to be present. And so they'd have to go sew them. And you could not pay the tailor to go sew your pockets up. It had to be you and your sewing kit. And so I'd ask, questions at the end of training because I want to get better. I want to know what works and what doesn't. I said, tell me about sewing up your pockets. For a punishment, what was that like? They said, it was the worst. It's so expensive. I blew it, man. I started getting angry. I said, what the fuck? I told you were to use your sewing kit. You were not to pay a seamstress. Sir, we used our sewing kit. And then how is it expensive? Anytime that we purchase something, it'd be $1.13, $7.05. So we end up with all this extra change. So now you're trying to spend the change. You're trying to find what can I buy for 75 cents or whatever, because you don't want to lose change, right? Or you end up leaving change. That's what they meant by it was expensive.
I see. Okay. Not that they were using a seamstress or something. Yeah.
There was an officer candidate, class 07908, former enlisted U.S. Navy. He was in the intel field, but that doesn't mean he was intelligent. And but in hindsight, he's very intelligent. He had a last name called Winger, Winger. If you ever watched the movie Stripes, Winger, one of the two idiots.
That's right.
Screws everything up. There's something about Winger that, if I were to believe in reincarnation, must have been somebody that I really hated in a previous life. Because when I looked at him, I wanted to punch him in the face all the time. And he looked different than everybody else because he had civilian glasses. He didn't have the birth control glasses. We call them BCs, the military issued glasses. So that pissed me off that Winger, who's horrible at close order drill, and is wearing civilian glasses. And I'm constantly on his ass about his glasses. He's constantly spending his free time trying to get the optometrist at the base to get him his glasses. You don't understand. My drill instructor hates me, cannot stand these glasses, and is constantly PTing the shit out of me because I'm reminded him of somebody that he doesn't like in life. And I told Winger, I don't know who the hell it is that I hate that looks so much like you. But every time I see you, Winger, I just want to freaking kill you. And why don't you have freaking birth control glasses yet? Sir, this officer does not know, sir, but this officer has been trying to get them, sir. All that kind of crap. When it came to the M1 Garand, that's a tough weapon to execute inspection arms on, especially the port arms where you take your knife hand and you push down on the operating rod and then push in with your thumb to allow a mechanism to slip underneath the operating rod. So when you release, it slams forward and puts the bolt into the chamber. That is a difficult thing to do. Winger, whether it was trying to pull the boat to the rear or trying to get the boat to release and unlatch from the operating rod, it looked like he was having a seizure when he holds his weapon. I accused him of masturbating all the time. Quit masturbating my weapon, Winger. Get that freaking boat home, Winger. I do it. The platoon would be doing a great job. Yeah. Hands, action, arms, bam, bam. And then I start hearing the little masturbating noise of moving that operating rod up and down, trying to get it to lock to the rear. And he's the only person who's not in time with everybody else. Now, if the whole class was doing that in sync, it would be okay. But he's the only oddball doing something different. There's actually a video of me in the dungeon, we called it, a portion of the barracks on the first floor. And we do closer to drill there. And I would set up a camera so they can see their screw ups and play it for them later. And I actually take Winger's weapon from him, and I'm playing with the damn thing, and I can't get the damn thing to do what it's supposed to do. So he jinxed the damn thing. And but he took a lot of pain, a lot of misery, but he finally got some glasses. But at that time, I knew him quite well and found other reasons to throw hate at him. But you know what? That is one tough kid mentally. He was not going to quit that program, no matter what I did, no matter how many times I yelled at him or PT'd his ass. So fast forward, he retires from the Navy. He's a lieutenant commander, had a great career in intel, did a lot of great things in the War on Terror down at Gitmo and also known as Guantanamo Bay. And he knew some different languages. First language he learned was Russian. I said, "Oh, wow. Why did you learn Russian?" He says, "Well, I grew up. Vietnam War was going on." I said, "Vietnam War has been over, Winger, 15 damn years." You think we're going back?
That's weird.
Because the Russians did assist the North Vietnamese.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Not with troops on the ground, but they did have Russians and Cubans who were at the POW camps and teaching them about flying.
Wow.
But, so he called me one day. He says, "Gunny," so he calls me Gunny. He says, "You're not going to believe this." I says, "What?" He says, "I'm a civilian Marine now." Well, that's what they call them in the Marine Corps. If you are a civilian and you work for the Marine Corps, it doesn't matter if you have prior service or not, you're now a civilian Marine. And you get that title. And so he put me on speakerphone with his colonel, and we had a good time. So when he, I can't remember if at his house he has an M1 Garand. I want to think he does. But I know that when I got an M1 Garand, I demonstrated to him a proper inspection arms and port arms and sent him a video of it. But I love him. I love him to death. And like my Marines and my officers I trained, I would do anything for them because they earned the title. Yeah. And with that, I almost religiously will end our conversations with, "I love you." And I mean it sincerely. And I picked that up from General Ray Davis, assistant commandant of the Marine Corps. But when I asked him what quote did he want associated with his photograph that I was requesting to be mounted and put up in the hallway to tell his story, he says, "As you love your Marines, so will they love you." And at that time, I felt kind of squeamish, like, Marine, male, using the word love toward other Marines. What's this foreign thing? But as I matured, I thought about it, and I thought it was very important. And I rarely ever heard the word "I love you" growing up. And so when I would visit my parents, I would hear it maybe when I first arrived, and I'd hear it at the moment of departure, but not during the time that I was there. And so I made sure that my stepkids all heard the words "I love you" all the time when they were growing up, and create a household that people feel loved, genuinely loved.
Right. That is an incredibly important thing. I mean, I always say it on the podcast, like when we're doing our fireside chats, but how important it is to say you love somebody, like to let your Marines know, let the people you served with know that, hey, I love you. I'll do anything for you,
Yep. And I say that my
hopefully you actually do, but
I say that in my civilian job too. And in fact, a few years ago, he's not that far behind me in age. He's probably 10 years behind me, but Mark Chapaton, mentored him, promoted him to manager of facilities. And then when I went to another hospital, I recommended that he be promoted to director, and they did. They promoted him to director of facilities. But he's been calling me dad for years. And the electrician that got promoted to manager, he calls me dad. So they both call me and my wife, Carrie, mom and dad. And
Nice.
but we say, we love them, each other. And I tell my 53 people I've got during our morning huddles, I'll often tell them, you have a great day. Remember, I love you, and do anything for you. But it's important to start their day off on a positive note. And,
absolutely.
But we talked about that. So we talked about running around a formation with a guide on a stick. Yeah,
we did.
I always wanted to do things that would be superhuman in feet, and to really motivate them, right? Who else is going to do this kind of stuff? And I remember when I first got to Pensacola, that sand is like sugar. It's deep and soft and powdery. It's not like running on the Atlantic where you're running on packed, wet dirt. It's really powdery. So I was doing my first beach run when I was there as a new drill instructor. And all of a sudden we get to the beach and there's no cadence. Now I'm upset that no one's calling cadence because it's a hard run. It should be harder because you're calling cadence. And so it was all over with. I said to the drill instructors, I said, what the hell is with this weak ass, I'm not calling cadence on the beach? It was, you want to call cadence, Nick? Sure. Your ass is calling cadence next time we do a beach run. We did beach runs about every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So there's a 4-mile run, of which 3.5 miles of it was on sand.
Oh, God.
And I get out there. Well, I'm not going to sing complicated cadences that are motivating. No, I'm not there to. It was hard, because I'm trying to keep pace, running in that deep sand, expending my energy, projecting my voice. So I went to the left foot cadence. Left foot. So they had to say left foot 2 or 3 times. And then I would say, what foot? Left foot. So they got tortured, and it was hard on me, but it was worth the pain just to make sure that they had the toughest run they could have. So one day I thought, at AOCS, when it closed down in 1994, they used to do a rifle run. It was mandatory, and you had to pass the rifle run. And it, of course, covered time on the beach as well with sand. And so you got your M1 Garand. It's a very heavy-ass weapon. And do that run. So I put on boots and trousers. I took a rifle, and I took my class for a extracurricular run because we were not allowed to do rifle runs with the candidates when it became Navy OCS. They consider that medium risk training and provides no value. Well, we disagree, but that's just the way it is. So I'm going to motivate them, though, because they're going to get to see that and think, man, you see the incredible strength and endurance of our drill instructor? Holy shit. Because, what are you going to do with your afternoon time? Either you're practicing drill, you're torturing them, or you can take them out for additional PT. The only rule is you had to have an extra drill instructor with you and a safety van. So I had me another drill instructor. He set the pace. I'm out there calling cadence. Holy shit. I bit off more than I can chew. And so how do I get up there and tell the drill instructor it's time to turn around? We pre-briefed it, and we're going to do a 4-mile run, the lighthouse run, which is 3.5 miles in the deep sand. And running at that pace, it was not a fast pace because you're in deep sand.
Yeah.
And the candidates were in PT gear, so it wasn't too hard on them. I had the extra weight of black leather combat boots.
Oh, nice.
Yes, woodland woodland trousers. And,
nice. You had those panties from the mail earlier. Yeah, nice.
They were underneath. Got shaken there, But I swore when I got done, it was a 50-minute run we did. And I swore I will never, ever do this again. I did it once and survived. It's kind of like that conditioning march where I had extra gear on me. And then the lieutenant forgot what week it was and went an extra mile.
Yeah.
And I should have quit after the first 100 yards.
Nice.
Yeah. There was the relationship of chief petty officers. So they were not required at that time to have formerly been a recruit depot commander, which is a Navy version of an enlisted drill instructor. Right. Some of them have never been around entry-level training before, but now they're in that position. They don't like being there. They didn't ask to be there. It was not, they were voluntold, not volunteer. And where all the Marines were competing to get there to have more fun. So we brought our A game. The Navy did not. There was a Navy chief named Johnson, a diver. And he and I got stuck together a few times, and he hated me with a passion. Oh, did he hate me? He hated the fact that drill instructors were there at all, but he really hated me. A fellow drill instructor, Gunner Sergeant James Dozier, combat engineer. He looks like a big silverback gorilla, his body build. Very strong. Takes no grief, takes no shit from anybody.
Right.
He's got his class out there in the shade, in the street, practicing manual of arms. 25 minutes or 20 minutes prior to the Navy chiefs conducting a 6-week giveaway inspection of the uniform that's on the officer candidates. Their giveaway inspection where they're always going to get a streamer. They get to have, off-base liberty. They can eat desserts and all that kind of crap. Well, he opens his window in his changing room and he yells, "Gunnery Sergeant Dozier, you can't be in that spot. That's where we're conducting inspections." He looked at him, didn't even speak back to him. He continued to do the manual of arms. He now gets angry again, yells again. Dozier ignores him. He gets out, runs out of his changing room, out the end of the building, and runs a distance of a damn near a block. And this long H barracks, and gets to the other end where Dozier is, and comes up there half dressed. His shirt is untucked. He has no cover on his head. And he's ballistically yelling at Gunner Sergeant Dozier that him and his class cannot be here. They're going to use this for an inspection at like 1400. And Dozier turned around. He says, "Get the fuck away from me, and don't you ever fucking talk to me again in that kind of tone of voice. Get the fuck out of here, Chief. Your officer candidates are not out here. And when they do come out, we will move." Right? So
wow.
The chief goes back inside, finishes dressing. Dozier moves his class when he sees the class falling out to do their inspection in the shade.
Right.
Dozier waits until the inspection's over with. He's watching from the barracks. So the chief comes into the building and goes into his changing room. Dozier goes into the Navy chief changing room because we all had our own territories. And opens the hatch, slams it shut, goes over, scrunches the front of his uniform with 2 hands, picks him up on the wall. He says, "Don't you ever fucking talk to me that way again, or I'll rip your fucking head off." And so there's not much the chief could do because the chief was probably 175 pounds. Dozier was a solid 220. He was like a fullback on a football team and very muscular and powerful from weightlifting. And so then he came into our changing room. We didn't know this was going to happen. We knew nothing about this. This is all mystery to us. And Dozier came in and says, "Marines, I may be finding myself at office hours," which we also know as non-judicial punishment, which has punitive powers of half your salary for 2 months, demotion and rank, all that kind of crap, or a court martial. We said, "Why?" He says, well, and then he told us the story of what he just did to the chief.
Wow.
Yeah,
Now, I'm assuming nothing came of it.
Nothing came of it.
All right. Well, thank you very much to everybody out there. If you're struggling and need help, anything like that, don't forget that the VA does have some good resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255 or go to veteranscrisisline.net, click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. I know John cares about you. The whole veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you serve with. Ask them how they're doing. If they need that helping hand, please give it to them. John, one last time, you are the man. I don't care what anybody says. You are the man. And to everybody out there, stay motivated. Change your socks.
Hoorah! Yut! I love you.
No more 22. Honor the journey and finish the fight.